Carson, I found a piece of good news from the AI world that I wanted to open with today. Did you hear about OpenAI's acquisition of TVPN, the YouTube channel and show? Have you heard about this?
Oh, I have heard about this. Have we been acquired also by OpenAI?
Well, I'm throwing it out there. Let's get our $200 million. I figure, this is what I figured. They're probably about 1,000 times bigger than us, right? Sure. So, and they sold for what, 200 million. So let's go get our 200 grand. Let's go figure out who our acquirer is here.
Yeah, if any AI firm needs press, we're not going to promise good press, but I think we're up for sale. Turn off Toro Productions on the market.
For the highest bidder all day.
Bidder. Yeah, exactly. That's promising. I can't wait. I can't wait to get that check.
Speaking of good press, we wanted to bring somebody on today and learn about what they're doing. So we've got a 3-person episode. I'm excited to introduce from the Victoria headquartered local music listing and ticketing service startup, Gigpit, which you can find at gigpit.ca. They're currently running in Victoria, BC and Vancouver, BC. And we have one of the 5 co-founders of Gigpit with us, Evan Dungate. So Evan, thanks for hopping on with us.
It's an honor to be here. I'm really excited to talk about the Gigpit and AI acquisitions of your YouTube and podcast channel and all the press that will come out of this.
Great.
We'll write you a small check.
Wonderful. Yeah, I'll make my offer starting at $10 and then they can bid up from there maybe.
Great.
Sounds good. So because we've got you as one of 5, there's always a little dance, I suppose. We're going to talk about a bunch of things related to Gigpit, where other people will have their parts of the story and how they got involved. And we can ask you a little bit about that too. Before we get into any of the Gigpit stuff specifically, I want to hear a little bit about just you, because we've got your musical background, the non-music things that you're involved with in Victoria right now, where you're based. Like, what kind of bands did you like or play in, or like, what's your personal musical background, Evan?
My personal music background is the small bands. I grew up in a town that had lots of really cool touring bands coming through. I lived in Saratoga Springs when I was growing up. So it's got like a 30-person like outdoor amphitheater. So I got to see like Dave Matthews Band every summer, go see like Grateful Dead, like Lil Wayne, and all big names would come through, and it was pretty exciting. But it was my first experience when I came to Victoria, where I got to see people my age rocking out on stage, and I realized, hey, there's space for little stars too. It's not just the big ones. So that was when the Copper Owl was operating. I went to my first like local show there, and I saw the OKGBs, who I've become friends with later on. But they blew my mind, and they looked like they were having so much fun, freaking out on stage, playing great music. Everyone's dancing to it, and I was like, wow, I want to do that. And I've had very little musical background, so I just started asking every single person that I knew that had more musical background than me, like, hey, do you want to be in a crappy punk band? And eventually I wrangled like 5 different people, and we started a band called Wet Cigarette. And that was such a fun ride. We accomplished all our dreams, did the local band Gambit, played Sled Island, made a record, put it out, did all the fun stuff, and just played like, tons and tons of shows, got the people moshing. So that was like the highlight of my musical career in Victoria. And then COVID absolutely shot us in the kneecaps, and we crawled away for 2 years, and then had a wonderful wrap-up show. But then we realized that, like most of us it was a bit of a university band. So people kind of scattered to the wind after that, and we closed the door on that project, and it was a really, really fun run. And then after that, I didn't really participate in any other bands, just kind of went to shows, and was feeling just a big like change in the scene, like through COVID. Just like there was like this huge momentum kind of leading up to it, of like local bands and this big mixing of genres and stuff. I love Victoria for it's crazy shows. There's like pretty limited number of bands, so usually when you go to a bill, there's like you get like some reggae, some punk rock, and then someone doing like a solo singer-songwriter set. And I noticed that kind of had fizzled out a little bit, and so I kind of started brainstorming about things that we could do. And I guess I can jump into the origin story of Gigpit if that's of interest.
Yeah, totally.
So So that was kind of how I, without my bandmates in town, we were, Aidan, who's one of the other co-founders, him, Josh, and I got together. We're like, man, there's social media is like not doing a very good job. Through COVID, they got really good at like advertising things and monetizing their platforms, which and made it not so useful for local bands to promote themselves anymore. So then we decided that we'd try to make a product that would be without ads and all actionable information about getting to a show. So to connect again with the local live music scene. So that was about 2 years ago, and we've worked on it ever since. It's been a kind of like the way that I've been moving around over the last couple of years, but it's been a way that I can kind of stay in touch with the Victoria scene, stay seeing all the bands that are coming up and playing and adding them to the website, promoting their shows and listening to all their music. So that was about 2 years ago. We launched the calendar a little more than almost a year ago now. So we're coming up to our 1 year anniversary, which is pretty exciting. And yeah, that's the quick version of the journey of Gigpit.
Yeah, that's sweet. I noticed it, not long after it was launched, I guess. And that's something that I ended up hearing a little bit about. You mentioned Aidan. I got the chance to meet you for the first time, and him, both of you, in person. We linked in Victoria maybe about a month ago now, and you had heard of me through Rhythm Changes, and I had heard of you at Gigpit, and we kind of got the chance to give our stories at that point a little bit, and that's why I was intrigued to hear a little bit more and bring you on here so we could talk about what you're up to a little bit further, because I wanted to get to know you guys, because I had started to admire what you were doing, I guess, not long after it had launched, in terms of listing shows and then moving on from there to like you're actively processing payments and selling tickets on your platform. And it's really, I remember like 1 year out of the start of Rhythm Changes specifically, like I hadn't even started my gig list yet. That came a little bit even after that. So you've covered a lot of ground in that amount of time.
It's nice having five of us. Most of us have other jobs. This is not our main squeeze. It's a passion project, so having five people contribute when we're at an opportunistic manner makes it a bit easier to get stuff out the door.
What's the like division of labor between the five of you? Like, what is there? Like, everyone has to do a bit of everything? Is there like, developers and marketing people, and like what's the split of labor there?
Yeah, so we wanted to have fortunately have quite a well-rounded team. Four of us have development experience that can contribute to back or front end work. Josh is our lead developer, certified wizard, as it were. He's the one that wears the main wizard hat.
Nice.
Most potent incantations when it comes to writing code. And then Aidan, myself, Matt, and Mac all contribute in the we're the like apprentices, as it were, to stay in the arcane world. And then Ellie is the main graphic designer and branding lead, and she joined the team like pretty shortly after we met. So that kind of formed the full circle of design and development within Gigpit. And then because it's part-time for most of us, we take on like customer support and messaging and outreach to people on a bit of like an opportunistic ad hoc basis. We're always trying to improve our process, but usually it's just like whoever gets to it first and is excited about it, that they just own the tasks.
Right.
I want to linger on something that you deserve a lot of credit for, that is immediately obvious at this point, that Carson can understand how much more effort is required of you and how much more you put in than me at Rhythm Changes, which is that you have a custom website. I use an off-the-shelf website plan through Ghost, and you guys built that website yourselves, and it works great. And that's a huge thing that was required of you in the way that you went about doing this, and it seems to be working great. So hats off to your lead wizard and to all of you on that.
Thank you so much. Yeah. I think that's partially because it's more fun for us to build something from scratch, or we have a lot of pride in it. And then also pragmatically just keeping costs lower. We want to like have as low overhead as possible. It's like a free site, so we really want to make everything as cheap as possible for ourselves. So that was another practical. Like we can volunteer our time. That's the expensive part. But then other than that, we're not paying any corporations really that much to maintain the website.
Yeah, and it eliminates your like any like platform risk, right? If you had put it on like Substack or Ghost, there's some risk that like those people get acquired by OpenAI or whatever, to call back to the front of the podcast. And like
it's all ours.
Yeah, so it's all yours, and like you only have to pay your cloud hosting, which is like a pretty sweet position to be in, and can, you know, pack up and move it wherever you want to if you had to, which is yeah. That's awesome. So I'm less familiar with Gigpit. I mean, like I've heard through Will and in the preparation for this, but like, so you guys are also on top of the listing the gigs, you guys can also sell tickets through the platform. Is that right?
Yeah, that was one of we all hate ads. So our biggest, most of the other platforms that we'd seen out there doing event listing, kind of, and the ones that we really loved, like over the years, have kind of like become riddled with ads, for lack of better words, or just didn't really equitably promote bands. There's a lot of bands out there, and then there's a lot of bands that have money to pay for promotion and or kind of game the systems to get to the top. And we've always been very adamant against advertising and wanted things to be kind of like I said, actionable and equitable promotion. So we had to come up with a way that didn't involve ads. So selling tickets was the next kind of easiest thing we could come up with. So we went ahead and did that, and it kind of came in a timely manner as like Stripe Connect got released, which makes making a ticketing platform and selling stuff online or running your own marketplace like a lot easier than it ever has been. So it's a big democratization of that space. So that was a big driver of that going along with ticketing as well.
It's awesome. Yeah, we've talked, Will and I, a little bit about, I'm going to forget the name of the platform that recently shut down, but they kind of went through several, what's the Dan Mangan one, Will?
Oh, Side Door, yeah.
Side Door. They went through kind of several journeys of how they were like going to monetize and do their thing. And I think it was like, they should have just started doing the ticket cuts earlier and maybe like done their splits differently. And like, again, not to revisionist history how that all went down. I think they really did an earnest job, but like it sounds like you guys got to the like, how can we make this sustainable in terms of like being very small, keeping the cost down, and then like making the tickets hopefully sustaining. It sounds like they're sustaining you, if not like a big revenue generator.
Yeah, that was really sad for us to see, and we've reached out to them actually when I think we were too small potatoes. No, we weren't on their radar, and I'm sure they probably didn't even want to talk about it at the time. But yeah, we would really love to connect with Dan, and I'm blanking on the other woman that was the other co-founder.
It's Laura Simpson. We talked about her company for an hour and a half, and then she left a YouTube comment after that. But that's what it took. Yeah.
Yeah. So I should go back and watch that video then.
We'll reported the crap out of that story. So if you want to know more in depth about how that, yeah, it's a juicy episode. Not in a bad way, just like there's a lot of, good history.
Yeah, because it was kind of sad, and I didn't really understand why it didn't work. So I'll have to get back on that one.
The funny thing though, that you gotta probably clear up, like I think I understand what's going on, but we're talking about like tickets and like what can sustain your company from that. But you have an interesting so far approach to how you're pricing these tickets and what kinds of fees you're charging. And spoiler alert, you're not charging any fees at the moment.
Oh, whoa.
Yeah. So I guess like one of the, maybe it's an advantage, maybe it's a disadvantage. No one on our team is like a CPA or any financial backgrounds. So, but we all come from music and art. So we we're looking like that. Like I said, there's lots of ticketing platforms out there, and they all charge fees, and people are really upset about the fees for the most part, whatever the size of them are. So we decided to make it like a lot of other things in the music industry, pay what you can, and we like that because it keeps us accountable to continue to do meaningful stuff outside of the ticketing platform, as far as just like music promotion and things that are good for the music scene. And so yeah, it's there's no fee. It's a sliding scale fee that people can opt into or opt out of at a checkout, and that's our radical approach. And we'll stay tuned for how it's panned out. But so far, people have been shooting us tips and buying us coffees here and there, and a lot of people don't, and that's also like one of the benefits of our platform, and what we're hoping to accomplish is like to make music more accessible for people. There's a lot of people that don't have that extra, sometimes $17 to $45 for some of these other platforms to pay for their to support a local artist. So we are big. Our radical idea is to not be extractive from the music scene, but to be a part of it and work with it.
Yeah, I'll cut something onto the screen so I can show an example of if you go and buy a ticket on Gigpit. But what I saw when I checked back up on that today was like the Stripe fee, like the payment fee, is the only mandatory additional fee when you're going through the checkout. So if the ticket costs $15, it's going to be itemized when you click on it to buy the ticket. It's going to say $15.80. And it's going to be $15, and it's going to say 80 cents is the payment processing fee. Then there's no other platform fee that's mandatorily added on, but there's like a donation slider where you can donate to Gigpit at checkout. That's what they're doing right now, right? Yep,
absolutely. Yeah, the Stripe fee is basically so that we can't lose money, and we'd have to process the credit card payments. So someone's always got to pay the credit card man. Unfortunately, if we can figure that out, that would be revolutionary for sure, but not yet. Can't do credit card payments. That's pretty complicated.
Yeah, that's kind of intractable from taking credit cards. So yeah, you got to pay those fees. That's
until
very cool.
We go
though.
to USDC until we go all cryptocurrency payments, right?
Stable coin.
Yeah.
Oh god, I don't know.
Too complicated for the music scene. I don't.
Yeah. We all got to get our Circle accounts or whatever. I think that's cool to hear, and it goes with something else I think Will and I have talked quite a lot about, which is like, I think we will and have different feelings about it, but like I'm kind of like a degrowth person, or at least an against infinite growth person with these platforms. Because right, you could take where Gigpit is right now, and some venture capital investor might sit down and say like, hey, if you started charging 15% fees, you guys could take this to the moon. And it sounds like you guys are reasonable on that, like, there's 5 of us. This is a spare time thing. We maybe don't need to go to the moon. And what we're providing the scene is like, worth it enough. And if we want to grow, maybe if people donate more, we'll grow one day, but it'll be at our own pace and not like, rocket ship speed.
100%. Yeah, no, that's the plan. Grow organically where it makes sense. When we've like, we're going to improve our processes as much as possible to increase our capacity to like do more. And when we can, we'll do more. Yeah. But yeah, no, a lot of us come from tech and other companies where it's just go, got to make this exponential growth. But it just results like I've just seen so many other music companies or like companies that try to make money off of the music industry in that method, and it doesn't go anywhere. It doesn't feel compatible with live music and art. So yeah, no, that's our philosophy. If it works, great. So far it is. We'll see where it goes from there.
You guys also want to be presenters to some extent. This is different from me at Rhythm Changes, but you're interested in presenting some of your own shows as well, which would obviously be hosted on the platform.
Yeah, they're mostly side projects for fun, just to like celebrate and be a part, like be a more active, like, yeah, we're real people. We're not just on the internet making a website. Here we are. But yeah, we have a show coming up in Vancouver. We're going to do a launch show pretty soon there. And then we have a pretty good access with and relationship with Cinderblock Studios here in Victoria. So we've been hosting a lot of like smaller and more kind of intimate shows there. It's a small venue, but we love it. It's got great vibes and ambiance, and now that we're in there, it's pretty easy to put on some shows. So hopefully more shows in the future. We try to do like one every month or two, but that's the piece that we were talking about being more than just a calendar or ticketing platform. We want to be active members in the community and contributing where we can. The last show that we put on was like I really missed. There used to be, and I think they still. I imagine that you guys have a lot more of these in Vancouver, but just kind of like mixer events where it's the goal is to like get some like brand new artists that have never played their show, kind of like first shows, or low stakes shows where you get to like try new music. And we had one of those recently, and it was a great success. I also as I mentioned earlier, I like shows where there's like big genre mashing. So we had like the set was like an Ableton set, and then like a post punk band, and then like a 8-piece like screamo band tonight. So it was like we ran the gambit, and I think people have been really responding well to listening to like 3 different genres in one night. You know, our attention spans are cooked with all the content we're consuming. So you gotta shake it up on the folks is our philosophy.
Very cool. Does that take us, Will, to? I would think the fees discussion. I'm like, does that take us to the other big news in the ticketing world?
Oh yeah, sure. I mean, this is good news, I suppose, that the Ticketmaster Department of Justice U.S. DOJ story has turned a page, and now they're by jury. Live Nation, the parent of Ticketmaster, has been found liable for acting as an illegal monopoly. This is despite the fact that Live Nation reached a settlement with the U.S. DOJ last March to try and avoid a forcing of breakup with Ticketmaster and Live Nation, because Ticketmaster merged with Live Nation in 2010. This is all very political, so you can track it through different politicians. There's been some bipartisan lineup on how both parties in the U.S. wanted to fuel this merger and where it went, and then it's kind of devolved into 2 political sides. So if you run it all the way back, there's different layers to it. Like, have you ever heard? I reminded myself of this, and I think I'd heard of it before, but about the Pearl Jam layer of this in the 90s. Evan, do you know about that?
Yeah, I love it. I like they were the first. They were the shot heard across the world. They're like, we literally can't tour, and as a big band without like succumbing to this company's needs, and we think it's insane. So I love that, and they got a lot of awareness for it, and that was in the 90s, like almost like 30 years ago. People have been screaming about this in the music scene, and hopefully this is maybe the beginning of the end. Burn it down.
Yeah, what they did was they boycotted Ticketmaster venues, and they tried to sue Ticketmaster, but like basically none of their efforts worked. Like they weren't successful in their lawsuit, and they were kind of standing alone with the boycott. Other bands didn't join. Their whole tour got nerfed, and they couldn't have any momentum for like a year because they refused to play Ticketmaster venues in the mid 90s. So wild. It almost, it feels just as dire then as it would have in the most recent time, but for different reasons, very different reasons. Everybody started talking about Ticketmaster 2 or 3 years ago because of the Eras tour, because of the controversy around when those tickets went on sale and how they handled the volume.
I am baffled that this has reached this conclusion at this political moment. How, with like the FTC doing what it is, how has this actually happened with the current DOJ? I'm ignorant to the story. Like, by now, I followed it up to kind of where it all looked like, well, no, we're cooked. This is just, they win, or at least they settled and they can just stay a monopoly. Like, how is this happening now?
Well, it's kind of like the jury striking back after the settlement to attempt to put it away, because this is what the jury found in the trial. But last month, they got the settlement because Live Nation has really curried favor with and donated to Trump. Yeah. And so the settlement terms were supposed to be like the easiest path for them, like the kind of slap on the wrist path. I think of like how Facebook was fined $5 billion for something that they did that one time, which seems like a lot of money, but really is like not much of even 1/4's earnings or something. Like they were trying to get a settlement like that out of the fact that they've been in the Trump administration's inner circle for the last little while, because the Biden DOJ under Merrick Garland was who sued Live Nation in 2024 before Trump took office at the beginning of 2025. So the Eras Tour stuff happened, and then the lawsuit happened under the Biden administration. Now in the Trump administration, it's been going on. It reached the settlement, and then they thought they were in the clear, but then the jury found that they acted as an illegal monopoly. And so now it's almost like, well, what they said would happen in the settlement, where they just have to pay fines and maybe sell some venues or something, like that's the easiest that they're going to get off. But now the judge may say that they're going to kick it up from there, and whether the two companies are going to be broken up is still uncertain. But the settlement terms are now like, that's the easiest they're going to get off, and now we'll see what happens.
Very interesting. I still doesn't make me that hopeful, because if it goes to like, because I think the FTC would be who decides how, like, this is with the Google illegal monopoly thing that they had on search and advertising, right? That this was like, they were ruled an illegal monopoly. And then there's maybe still some stuff that's going on there, but really probably nothing's going to happen to Google search and Chrome, like realistically right now, right? Because like the FTC would be who decides that. And it's like Brendan Carr, who doesn't care. And so they like monopolies. And so I can't imagine. I mean, like, I'm sure there'll be something that comes out of it, but I cannot imagine this ends with like the monopoly dissolving.
My hope for it is, as an advocate for the small scene, as something that we kind of reported on a while back, was the thing that I learned throughout all of this. One thing that I think is great about it is just the general public awareness about how this is a thing. I feel like we're so, for the last little while, shopping carts have gotten so efficient. You breeze over the fact that you got to spend an extra $47 or whatever as some fee when you're at the checkout for an already like $800 ticket or something. But I think this will hopefully just raise public awareness to be a bit upset about that. And it also will hopefully raise awareness to the fact that Live Nation and Ticketmaster aren't just for the stadiums and for the big dogs. They have Ticketweb, they have Universe, they have tons of these subsidiaries that are starting to do the exact same extractive tactics that Live Nation and Ticketmaster do, that has caused their monopoly, and they're trying to embed themselves in more local scenes with those subsidiaries. So I think maybe the big ones won't feel much repercussions, but I'm optimistic that this like public awareness can raise the fact that no, we don't want it in our local scenes, we don't want it in our local venues.
Well, and I think, having good alternatives is like a great thing, right? So now in like Vancouver and Victoria, certainly it's like we've got Gigpit as an option. And so, it's a pretty important thing, because like the Ticketweb being a subsidiary, I'm sure most people don't know that.
I didn't know that until I met you guys in Victoria.
It always rubbed me the wrong way. I think there's like some kind of shared branding somewhere on the site where I was like, really? And then, which is pretty gross, because again, you're just, anytime you're buying tickets, you're just like, thank God it's not Ticketmaster, and then it's usually Ticketmaster.
And it's like, it's the master in their web. Like, they're spooky names. Like, they know they're bad.
The web. They got you. They got you in the Ticketweb. Well, that's, encouraging, at least that the jury kind of found that to be the outcome there, but I'll be curious to see what actually happens. I think you're right, Evan, that like maybe 2-3 years ago, people they understood they were getting screwed on like ticket fees, but maybe not like who was doing it. Like, is it the band? Is it the platform? Is it the venue? And it's, yeah.
And I think that it's like, I don't know, the other piece that I've learned through talking with more and more venues, like about ticketing platforms and stuff, is they are like, the monopoly is working for these small venues because it's be a venue. And when a big company like Ticketmaster approaches you and says, hey, sign this deal with us and we'll charge these fees and you'll get a cut of those. And so usually like the insight that I've learned in the last couple months of kind of working in this space now is that a lot of the venues do get a cut of what those fees are. And they have unique contracts for each one. Can't speak to any specifically, but in the end of the day, it's not the venue that's going to control those contracts. It's going to be this massive corporation that's got tons of resources to extract as much money as they can and give just enough to make people happy, and then line their pockets and move on to the next city or venue.
The most notable venue that I encounter Ticketweb in as I go about my day at this point in Vancouver is the Pearl. Some shows I've been to there recently, like going to see Tortoise, going to see Sun Ra Orchestra, doing it there. I went to a show at the Cobalt. There's one at the Hollywood Theater that I've got coming up where I'm booking on that platform. So yeah, there is an insidious level of Ticketweb in my bookkeeping folder when I search for it to see which shows I bought through there.
And it also might, like, some of those venues are like ticketing platform agnostic, so they don't care what ticketing platform you use. They don't have those contracts set up. But then it can be from the like artist side too, where the artist will be a part of one of like Live Nation or Ticketmaster's like management portfolios, and then the artist is required to use the ticketing platform. So that's where I started to be more and more upset about the monopoly aspect, where it's not just like I don't go to the big stadiums that often. I'm not the one paying like $2,000 for a Taylor Swift ticket. Like, it's not really my problem. You know, I support local. I do this stuff. But now I've realized that no, it's much, much bigger than that. It's like all levels of the music industry get to make a little bit of money for Ticketmaster.
Which, you know, all that being said, I guess to bring it back to Gigpit a little more, it's like those. When you describe all that, sounds almost unsurmountable, right? The forces that you're up against, right? Like how intractable this is with like, if you're even trying to put on a show for a band who's signed to a label that's forcing them to use Ticketweb or whatever, that's like, you're already cut out of the deal. Like, how does Gigpit plan to, obviously the hope is that as awareness grows and the scene grows, people understand that like the cool thing to do as a venue, as a, show attendee and as a band is to like use this local platform. But like, how do you see Gigpit's future? Like, I guess like fighting against that, or how do you be competitive even at the very small scale with that stuff?
I think just awareness. Like, I can't be upset with a local band or someone that's like, hopefully it's a good contract for them. Like I want any band to try to make it, and everyone's like, there's so few ways to make it as a local artist these days. Like, you got to take the shots that you can. So I don't think we're gonna pry that many people away intentionally or like directly, but just raising awareness about what our mission is and that there are alternatives out there, and that it might not be that good of a deal.
I love how right-sized you guys are. It resonates so much with my Rhythm Changes story, where I have been pretty chill on the trajectory of it. There's some times where I put my foot on the gas a little bit more, but honestly, like the times when I've dug in and spent a lot more time on Rhythm Changes, those were times when I was trying to figure out what I was doing. It was more about that than like, oh, I'm trying to grow this fast. It's like I made podcast episodes every week when I was trying to learn how to make better podcast episodes. I wrote more often and longer words when I was trying to figure out what I wanted to write like. And I sense that you guys are like that too. You're not feeling the pressure. It's like, because you're probably, even with like the small amount of dollars, and like you've gotten at least one grant as well, but like you're probably either profitable given that you're volunteering your time, or like close enough to it that that's chill, and that you don't have pressure coming from there. You don't have like investor pressure. This is something that I end up talking about, or I actually maybe not talking, but I think about all the time in terms of my former band. I think about this. I've thought about it as like, oh, where does your band or project, if there's multiple people in it, like there's 5 of you, there were 4 in my band, where does it fit in your priorities, just in life? And like, I was lucky to be in a band where we all knew that for like 3 years, it was like priority number 1 for all 4 of us. And that doesn't last forever. And then that changed really fast. And then all of a sudden it was different. And we all went off and did different things. But I sense that you have something nice going on here where all 5 of you are, it feels like you're in it to the same degree. Because sometimes when people are in it to different degrees, there can be tension and stuff. But just because it's not priority number 1, it doesn't mean that you 5 are not. It feels to me like you're all kind of aligned on where you're putting it in terms of how much time you're putting it, and like the lack of pressure that you seem to feel as you go about it.
Yeah. And I think I totally resonate with that, especially with the band piece. Like, that was, I think, why my bet, like we lasted for so long, was that everybody was very communicative about what their expectations were, and that it like what the level of commitment was going to be, and also being really respectful of your team when it is something that you're volunteering and passion based, that you can let people step away from it for a while and have that time too, and let other people, okay, no, I'm actually really fired up about this now. I want to do this thing. We really make a lot of effort to not hold each other back when that is the case, because we know it'll like benefit everybody, and then also giving people grace to take whatever time they need when other things in life are calling. Really just like with a band, it's like a little fire. You got to tend the flame, and you got to show it love all the time, and then let it grow naturally.
Okay, I kind of want to put you on the spot here a little bit, but we'll abstract it one layer. And this is something that we got the chance to talk about when we had coffee in Victoria. But I work for venues and presenters and record labels, but I've done work for a few venues and presenters, especially ones in cities that you're running in right now. Let's say hypothetically there's a presenter who does most of his business on Eventbrite, but also does co-pros where he has to use the other venues' platforms. And I don't know who this could be, but maybe his company like starts with an I or something. And like, what would you, if you had the opportunity to have lunch with this person and be like, hey, you should use Gigpit, you should move all your shows, especially the ones that you own the ticketing for, over to Gigpit. Like, what would you tell this hypothetical person?
It's a movement. There's a lot of artists on board with it. The features that we offer are directly made for the Victoria and the Vancouver music scenes, and we're constantly iterating on those. I'm a real human being that lives in your neighborhood. You can come talk to me. We're getting this lunch in person. You're not going to get that with anybody else. And it's go look at the website. It's really nice. That's usually our big sales pitches. It's fun. It's fun to use. You just go try it out.
It helps having
pitches. Like, do you enjoy using Eventbrite?
Yeah, I was gonna say you guys have an edge being maybe a little more technical than the average set of people operating in this space. Like, I even think probably the early side door stuff did not have the degree of polish that the Gigpit site does. This is not, again, love side door. It's a cool project. I'm just making a comparison here because I think that is actually a standout of like being able to be as small as you are and yet have this degree of polish.
Yeah.
Like maybe your edge. Yeah.
Oh, for we because it was a passion project and because it's like we didn't know where it was going to go and if it was going to be like, we wanted it to be a portfolio piece above something for all of us because we all have other careers and things, so we really wanted it to be something that we're proud of, and we also just really wanted it to be something that people can really enjoy because like a big piece of like our philosophy and something that we were talking about so much at the beginning was just like there's so much like crap out there. Like there's so many websites that like used to serve a purpose and they don't anymore, or they serve too many purposes and I get overwhelmed because I like just am overstimulated and I lose track of what I came to do. So we're really, really big on accessibility, and we kind of like some of the things that like caused us that like forced us to really, well, one, we got really lucky because we have amazing designers and development talent on our team. And then two, we were just getting so much feedback from people being like, I'm missing shows, like I'm not engaged, like on social media, for example. That's where I used to find like all my shows. So I'd like scroll through Instagram and be like, oh, I like that band, I follow them, I see a show, I go to it, figure out a ticket. But now there's just like so much other stuff going on there. There's so much like overwhelm of decisions that you don't end up buying that ticket, you forget about the show, you miss the show. So I guess that's like another one of the selling pieces that I would say in that lunch is that we're getting a pretty big audience of people that are part of the like anti-social media movement, like people that are getting off of like, we're now an alternative. Like I get people coming up to me sometimes at like shows being like, I quit social media and I was missing shows, and like now I'm not missing shows because I can just find some stuff on Gigpit that I like. And so that was like a big one of our like goals and missions. So that's something that I think we can say we're accomplishing.
That's rad.
Yeah, that's cool. Awesome. You guys have also experimented with content, which is, that's Rhythm Change's main thing. It's not Gigpit's main thing, but you've commissioned some writers and interviewers. We have both famously published more than 3,000 words about Chopping Spree. We've both done that. You've got a couple of pieces there. Talk about your content projects that you've done. Maybe that's not your thing, maybe it's somebody else's, but fill us in on that part of your website and what you've been messing around with there.
That actually is one of the things that I'm mainly doing these days. Is the coordination. Like I said, like being a passion project, we wanted, and we have a website that we're proud of that we can add content to. We wanted to open up just use it for people that want to contribute in journalistic manners. So I got to give a huge shout out to TJ, who wrote the Chopping Spree article. He emanated, I think, could go back from bands in the past. Either way, he joined on, and he was like, I gotta write stuff about the music scene, man. And we're like, let's do it. We'll put it up there for you. We'll make it. And so yeah, call out to anybody that wants to do any journalism about the music scene. Send us your stuff. I'll turn it into a nice looking. I'll add it to the website. I'll put all the pictures, and you'll have something on the internet within a week. And then that's, I guess, like the blog section that we want to. I can talk about, but then yeah, the other, like the featured artist programs and the other things, it's just like, for us, we've found collaborating, I think, with that makes everything better. It's been our experience. It's just like the more people we can find ways to work with, the more we learn about what we can do to benefit and help people and grow. So that's been the main driver for the featured artist program and some of the other like Gigpit in the green room type stuff. It's just fun, so we try to do it.
Yeah, I'm sure it's like helps with the feeling embedded in the scene, right? Like all those things are just like more ways of being involved beyond just like the platform that underlies everything.
Yeah, 100%. It's our motto. We gotta live up to it.
So featured artist program, this is like it's a highlight thing on the front page, right? Where you're rotating artists in there. You're maybe asking them for a bio or something, or maybe you're writing it. But it's that highlight section on your front page, and then maybe also post about it. Is that what it is?
It's more than that. We actually put them in the studio, and we get like 3 to 4 like full tracks done. And get it all mixed and mastered, and we do an interview usually before or after. Sometimes the interview's recorded, depending on like who we have available to do like interviews. And then put it up on YouTube. It's on YouTube. You can watch the full sets. Caleb Hart is the current featured artist. Amazing set. The guy had bronchitis and like sings like couldn't he can tell, obviously he's a professional, but we were blown away by that session. And lost my train of thought there thinking about Caleb Hart. Really happy with that one.
Yeah, that's big time. That's a big endeavor. Yeah.
And okay, so I remember now. The reason that we did that is that there's like pretty limited platforms in Victoria to showcase, like for artists to get some showcases that don't fall into the like indie rock genre. You can get on the radio and you can get like Zone Band of the Month if you're in a specific genre that plays on the radio, but there's a lot of other really, really impressive genres in Victoria right now that don't necessarily fit that niche. So we wanted to create an alternative like outlet to advocate for more non-radio friendly bands.
Yeah. Can I selfishly ask, like, because you found me, what did you think when you found me and Rhythm Changes? Like, what? Because you saw what I was doing, and I'm doing something that's slightly different from you. But I mean, I thought of that for me, and then I also think you are familiar with my friends and colleagues who do the show on YouTube called Once More with Feeling. Like, what has it been like when you find us? And there's a few of us. There's not too many, but there are a few of us who are doing similar things. What is it like to go out and meet them now that you're here doing Gigpit?
It's so nice. Like I love getting coffee the other day and like seeing that other people are doing similar stuff. Like we just want to find ways to collaborate and like mesh it and make more things happen like this. Like, so honored to be on the podcast today and talking about our platforms. Like there, like you said, there aren't a lot of us out there. We gotta stick up for each other and find ways to collaborate, because I think it's the team aspect. I don't know. I talk about it sometimes on like the Instagram videos I'll do, but just like the middle class of the music industry is kind of collapsing. And the upper class is just like kind of out of touch with what we're doing here in like local music. So I don't know. Unions, baby. Figure it out. Ape together strong.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's give a call to action of different ways that people could engage with Gigpit, because if you think about a basic part of it that we didn't really talk about, which is like, how do shows get on the platform? There's people post shows to the platform, and there's also artist profiles. Those are ways that you would assume that this works. I know that both those things are adding up on Gigpit in terms of there's more and more artist profiles, and then there's shows on the platform. Some of them are ticketed by you, and some of them are not. So artists who want to engage with Gigpit, what are they going to do? What's the call to action?
Check out the website and click post a show, create an account. Anybody can post any of your shows. If you have an artist profile already, we've like pre-seeded them because we want people to be able to find music if there's a show on the site. Just shoot us a message. We're super available on our contact page. Someone will get back to you, or our Instagram. You can drop us a line, and there's 5 of us. Like I said, on an opportunistic basis, we'll get back to you, but we're pretty fast for it because we're pretty excited about the project right now. So we're all pretty active on our messaging. But yeah, post a show, create an artist page, reach out to us if you have any questions. Hopefully the site talks for itself. If you can't figure something out, tell us, because we want to make it better.
And as far as Vancouver goes, the most well-known venue that you will find being ticketed by Gigpit right now, Carson, do you know which venue it is?
Green Auto.
That's right.
Yeah,
right here in my neighborhood, pretty close to me.
Much love for Green Auto. Green Auto has been an amazing partner. They were one of the first people to be like, yeah, we want to use Gigpit. We want to do our stuff with them, and they've given us so much meaningful feedback to make the ticketing what it is today. They've been totally pivotal in that.
That's great. It's a really good, like you mentioned, with the collaboration spirit, just like it's a very good partner to have, because I also feel like, everyone knows Green Auto if you're into local music in Vancouver. So very cool to be plugged into that.
Yeah, that we look up to them. We want this, our platform is designed specifically for venues like Green Auto and other ones across Canada, and like in Victoria here. So just, if we can provide service to our scene, that's what we're here to do.
One more on the spot before we fire the recommendation section. If I told you tomorrow it was time to expand to a third city, what would be the third city?
I'm living on the island, so we've been getting some requests from Nanaimo and Duncan, and they have a pretty rockin' independent music scene up there. So they're very much on our list. Well, yeah, trying to figure out ways now that to take it back to that kind of conversation about organic growth. Like we want to do it in a way that's beneficial to the scenes in those cities, and that we can actually show it the love that it needs for the site to work well for them. So yeah, figuring that out. But yeah, maybe Duncan, maybe Nanaimo.
Yeah, I was thinking about that as we were chatting. Is the main barrier to that, like you kind of need like a bit of a critical mass of shows in that scene for it to kind of make sense, so it's not just like, oh, this one show on the calendar is what's there, or like what do you think is like the barrier to posting from Kelowna or whatever?
For ticketing, there's no barrier now. You can ticket a show on Gigpit anywhere in Canada. It won't show up on the calendar. The calendar is the critical mass piece. And the artist profiles, like, yeah, we want to, if you show up and there's nothing there, it's going to be a disappointment, and we don't want to disappoint people. So yeah, the critical mass piece is a thing. And then also just like, yeah, usually amount of time to engage with the different people in the community and figure out like what's needed for those local scenes to get to make the calendar worthwhile.
Yeah, I mean, Will can attest.
Need like a big venue, right? You'd probably need that would be the way to jumpstart it.
Big venues. If you're a big venue out there looking for a new ticketing platform, we will happily take your call and make it work for you. Yeah, that's exactly it. Like venues are the drivers of the music scenes in all of these cities. They're a huge player, and if we can help them, we all grow.
I was going to say, Will can attest to the difficulty or the amount of time it takes to like put together a calendar on any given scene, right? Like the amount of reaching out to people, the amount of like checking out someone's Instagram story to get the showtime, and to like make sure the information's accurate. I can't imagine doing that for more than one city. I can't even imagine doing it for Vancouver, which is what Will does for one scene in Vancouver, let alone.
Yeah, just for one scene. Yeah, it's the right size.
Like the nichest, smallest scene, which is jazz in Vancouver.
And there's still 200 to 300 shows on it every month.
Yeah,
and you do it right. Like you care about it. You're getting your information right. Like that was another reason that we didn't want to, like, that was an early decision too. Like there's a lot of platforms out there that scrape data from all sorts of different venues and things, and that works like sometimes, but then this is Aidan's story to tell really, but he had a folk show that he was running the door for, and Shaggy was one of the folk artist names, not Shaggy, but a local Shaggy, and I think it was like Bands in Town or something, or Spotify, I think, scraped and put it on Shaggy, like Shaggy's Shaggy's Spotify profile. No. So all these people got notifications. It was in the Mint, which is like this basement venue like, I don't know, like 150 maybe, and people had ferried over from Seattle to like come to this show, and he had so many disappointed people when the folk night started. I mean, some people said they're like, "Oh yeah, this is great, whatever," but like some people were like, "I spent so much time doing this to get here."
Wow. And then they showed up, and then the other Shaggy goes on stage, and he walks up to the mic, and the first thing he says is, "It wasn't me."
Yeah. Zing. Oh man. Boy. Well, we always end these episodes with recommendations for the listeners at home. Sometimes a record, sometimes just a thing, sometimes an activity. So we'll maybe let Evan, you go first as the guest. And
sure. Yeah, I was told it was albums. So I went through some of my recent local favorites that I can plug. First one being Standard Issue Pleasure Model's newest album, Trip Sitter. I just went to their album release show I guess it was like last week or something, and they have a special place in my heart because I've been playing shows with them since Wet Cigarette, that band that I mentioned. They've been a staple of the Victoria music scene for like maybe like 8 or almost 10 years now, and so it makes me so happy to see that they're still like selling out shows and putting up new music. It's a great album. I also really like Christopher Atkins. He's a singer-songwriter, folk artist in Victoria, also kind of connected to, he plays in the OKGBs for a while too, so then maybe that's why I have an extra affinity for his album Another Year that came out in 2024. I listened to that one a lot. That was like one of my top listens. And then I really have been, I still gotta plug it, but Hedonist, which was another one of our featured artists, Scapulomancy, I can never really say that one right, but I was into punk rock, but I never really got into like black metal or like death metal, and then we had them as a featured artist, and it was like my first time like seeing it like live was just like, if you ever get a chance to see Hedonist, they are the coolest band in BC right now. I'll go out and say it. Check out their album. It's unreal. They're amazing human beings that I think will do big things in music. So those would be my 3 suggestions.
It's a big rec.
Those are great. Yeah. I haven't heard, I don't think, any of those 3, so I'm going to check it out. Will, what do you got for the people?
Okay, I'm going non-music here, and it oddly ties into something else that we were talking about. I mean, the obvious music ones that I could give are, I just went on a short little trip to Victoria and to Galliano Island to play music, and we listened in the car to nothing but Alex G headlights, so I could be a dork and recommend that. But I could also recommend my friends in this band that I'm wearing the merch of, Frankie and the Juice Box, who just dropped their self-titled. They played a release show at Redgate, and we'll probably have another show or 2 coming up. So those would be my music ones. But I wanted to jump out and mention this because you said something earlier that is very aligned to what I read about here. So there's a thing called Infinite Catalog. Infinite Catalog is a royalty accounting platform. I don't currently use it with any of my label clients. It would be the kind of thing that I could use, but I've heard about them. And Infinite Catalog, they have a Substack. And one of the things that they do on their Substack is they break down the annual Spotify PR report called Loud and Clear. And they analyze the data, and they talk about how Spotify is like misrepresenting or painting a rosy picture of what's going on. And the thing that they got into just now is they started talking about how more money is pooling up at the top, and it feels like it's running away from the artists in the middle. Spotify continues to talk about how middle class artists are thriving on the platform, and like there's thousands of them, but really they're either treading water, or the total amount of money on the platform is still getting sucked up to the top away from them. And so even if there are more of them, this is kind of tragedy, the commons things that goes everywhere, but even if there are more of them, they're not earning more, they're earning less probably as it gets sucked up to the top. So I'm going to link out to that from this episode to the Infinite Catalog newsletters pieces about Spotify loud and clear, because you'll appreciate that. You're talking about the music middle class getting eroded. I think that resonates. So I'll throw that in as like the another music biz piece of our conversation here in my rec place here.
And to take like one take off of that too, like the other piece is about the Spotify. Yeah, they're giving money, but they have complete control over who they give money to, because they have complete control of their algorithm that decides who gets promoted in the first place. Like there's no human in the loop when it comes to your suggested music anymore. It's record labels paying for certain things to get promoted or whatever. It's a total black box that they have complete control of. So they can make that metric any number they want any month. Like, yeah, it means nothing.
Absolutely.
All right, man, what do you got?
I've been listening a lot to the new album from Toronto singer-songwriter Charlotte Cornfield called Hurts Like Hell. It's really good. I've enjoyed all of Charlotte's albums. This is maybe strongest, like production-wise, just like polish. It's, just highly recommend, just like great singer-songwriter music. And if you check this one out and you like it, then like the whole back catalog is also worth checking out. She's got a real heartbreaker called Silver Civic from like many years ago. That's up there for sure for me.
Solid. Yeah, so concludes another round of recommendations. We did a triple rec round last time because we had a lot of albums on our minds. Part of that was because Carson subscribed to Hearing Things. Did you subscribe to Hearing Things? I'm still with it. Yeah. Nice. So you're still going to get a lot of new stuff from that. I got a 5-album short review roundup that's dropping on Rhythm Changes on the day that this goes out as well. So lots of listening going on. Man, Evan, you're a very enthusiastic teller of Gigpit's story. Had a lot of fun jamming with you. Look forward to when we get to hang in person sometime. It sounds like, I don't know if it's been announced yet, but it sounds like whatever day that ends up being when you do your Vancouver event, that we'll hopefully get to do that at that point. So thanks for coming on.
It's been so much fun to do this. This is my first time actually ever doing a podcast. And Will, Carson, thank you for having me. I look forward to seeing what we all do as the weeks go on, and maybe I'll see you in Vancouver at the Vancouver show. Posters will be going up soon.
See you there.
Okay.
Right on.